Welcome to the Main Stage Cast, a podcast about all things competitive Call of Duty, hosted by me, Nate Burleson, along with Alex Friel. Today, we're going to be getting into some interesting topics. We're in a little bit of a lull here in between the Kickoff Classic and the start of the actual league season, but I think we can talk about a few interesting things, some things that happened on Twitter. We're going to get into the Challengers Cup number 5, where the Subliner Academy won that, and we actually saw Wester lose for the first time. Um, and then we're gonna get into a tier list that we have for everybody. We're gonna do all of the CDL teams. We're gonna kind of come to a consensus ranking of them, and then we're gonna go into preseason awards. But first, the first thing we want to talk about is our favorite clutch plays of all time. Now, there's been tons over the last few years. It's hard to really pick one, but I mean, I have mine. Alex, do you have yours?
Yeah, so we're throwing it back today. First of all, I got Stonehaven in the back as requested by Yoda. He said, goated map. I disagree completely. It's a pretty bad map, pretty big. Definitely one of the worst maps in COD Ghosts, which had really good maps to be honest. But I'm throwing it back for my favorite clutch moment. I'm going all the way back to Black Ops 2. All right, the map
Yes.
Meltdown. All right, I'm going to a singular
Mm.
round. All right. It was like a 1v, was it a 1v4, 1v3? The whole of the team was
Mm-hmm.
chilling, right? They got it locked down. They're watching all the doorways, but Karma sneaks in, and
Yep.
as soon as Nameless Plants hops on it, or no, was it? I forget. You know what? I forget, but that's not what's important. What's important is that Karma just hit him with the ninja
Mm-hmm.
diffuse. He didn't even give them a
That's the audio
chance,
that
you
started
know?
one of our last episodes with Benson. Karma, going for the
True,
ninja
true.
diffuse.
When I was thinking of best clutches, I was thinking that's a really
Mm.
good one because he didn't even have to do anything. He literally just ninja diffused. Like that's the most Damon
Mm-hmm.
Barlow play
In
of all
that
time,
same
man. Come
tournament,
on.
Gfinity 2, he went on like a 28 kill streak against some random team. Like that was Karma's
Yeah, against
tournament.
the Europeans. I think it was
That was that
dude,
was
that was
that event was
crazy.
like Karma like saying like I'm the best player in Black Ops 2. No matter what you think, I'm the best player in Black Ops 2. That was like his
Yeah.
flex event. I'm going with the Black Ops 2 thing as well, but this is actually a respawn clutch, as rare as those seem. It was a UMG Atlanta 2013, and it was Nifty and his boys up against Envy, and it's on standoff CTF, and he makes a play. He wins. I think he wins two or three gunfights, but he wins the final. He wins the most important one to grab the flag, and then he's running back through mid. They wipe out. They wipe out Envy, and the commentators go crazy. Nifty wins the gunfight. He wins the gunfight. He's just freaking out. He's like, Envy caps it. Envy's going to the losers bracket. It was one of the craziest upsets at the time. And just watching Nifty, who was I think only like 13 or 14 when he made that play, watch it. It was crazy because they interview him afterwards. And he's like a little, he's a little kid making that huge clutch. It felt pretty great to see that. And obviously he went on and had a good CS:GO career, but it's
Yeah.
fun to look back on. That was one of the craziest clutches I've ever seen.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about Respawn, and you're talking about Benson, like now I'm just remember, I don't know, you probably didn't watch this in BO4, but it was the Optic Seaside comeback
Hmm.
on Hardpoint against E United. Like
Yeah.
they just chalked E United completely, like because they were up like it was like ridiculous. It was like 240 to like 190 or something, and they were going to like the back hill, and they're literally like team killing each other.
Yeah.
Like it is just not
There
good.
were a
Like
few.
they're
There were a
calling
few
them
clutches
streaks
like
of
that
team
in
killing each other.
BO4.
Yeah. And Benson was just yelling, "Come on, come on, come, come!" Like it was so funny,
Yeah,
dude.
I'm gonna miss Benson's voice this year on the CDO.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too bad. I'm gonna miss
Rest
his
rest in
voice.
peace wherever he is.
Man, Benson, like, he's one of his voice is just attached to so many of my great COD
Yeah.
memories throughout the years of watching and just loving the game. I love Benson,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
we can get into another crazy play. This much on a much smaller scale. This was on a scrim between Atlanta FaZe and the New York Subliners. Sim posted this clip on Twitter. Do you want to get into it? You want to introduce it?
Yeah, so Twitter moment of the week for this week, baby. We're going with Simp. He said, I was 23-0 before they ended the game. And it was a clip of a scrim of Atlanta FaZe versus the New York Subliners. And, they just started a control on Garrison. It was round one. The Atlanta FaZe was on defense. And literally, this man Simp just like pushes green, just bodies all the fools, kills them all mid, pushes up into their spawn, like picks up an XM4. Right, he picked up the XM4. He had like 13 kills. I was like, I was like, it's over,
Yeah,
bro. He has an
that
XM4. It
XM4
was
is crazy.
literally, he was chilling in the garage. There's the door literally all the way to the back, and he was just going in between, and they
Hmm.
were just spawning on either side. He wasn't looking at. He was literally just frying them.
I
Like
would
if
have
they're gonna do that in the tournament, that's gonna be
I would have
crazy.
ended the
If
game
Simp goes
earlier.
crazy like that. Oh,
I would have
yeah,
ended the
no,
game
that first
earlier.
round was chalk. I think they got like 3 kills or
Yeah, it
something.
was like 27. There were like still 27 or like 26 kills, or 26 lives on FaZe's side when New York had already ran out of respawns. And Sip was just still back there, just killing and killing and killing. That's
But
not
but
fair, man. I feel bad that
and
New York gets put
the
on
cons were
blast.
just funny, dude. Cause like Simp literally was just like they were all embracing it too,
Hmm.
and Simp's like, oh, I'm on a streak, I'm on a streak, and he was literally like, Yahoo, like bouncing around and just like he was like, what up, Diamond, and literally just bodied him, and then
Yeah,
that's when he picked up the XM4.
yeah,
Like that was crazy,
he's
dude.
scary. He's a scary dude. Simp. Like if
Yeah,
you're playing against him on a, he doesn't look very scary like himself. But if you, I mean, if I would, he's like one of the last pros I would want to be in a 1v1 against. I think he's the last pro, one of the last pros anyone wants to be in a 1v1 list against. I think
yeah,
he might even get,
that was hilarious.
he might even get a little underrated because like he would, I feel like he should be a top tier MVP candidate in like everybody's mind because if FaZe is really good, he's gonna be insane.
Yeah,
We can't take him for granted, that's for sure.
no,
And so we could talk a little bit more about some of the stuff that happened recently, like the Challengers Cup #5, which happened over the weekend.
past
We saw
weekend.
a new winner in the Challengers scene finally after it took 5 cups to get a new winner other than Wester, but we saw it and it was the New York Subliners Academy who played a really good event.
Yeah, honestly, it kind of took me by surprise when I saw that Wester were losing it in the fashion they did. Like, they were just not even winning a map again. You know, there was a lot of times when they just looked down bad this tournament. So I don't know if maybe other teams just got a little bit better or something happened. They just had a bad week. Maybe this is a fluke week. But New York played really good. That man Nato, did you see the clutch plays
Yep.
by Nato Zuma? Zuma was watching I Hold Shift. He was like he's doing a little casting thing, and Zuma was just getting hyped for New York. Nato was frying on Garrison Hardpoint. He was making the comebacks on Control too. It didn't matter on S&D. This man Nato could do it all, and honestly, that leads me to think that I think New York should pull Renato up. You know what I'm saying? Give Saints a
Hmm.
chance. That's the go.
Yeah, but if they're gonna give him a chance, where like how does everybody else get slid around?
Well, I mean, they could move Diamond Con back. He's like, you know, he's because I saw Saints was using XM4 a lot of the time.
Hmm.
So, but he was fine with it, and I feel like maybe they could use that like veteran presence on that team because he's up there, man. He's been playing since BO2. You know, he's
That
been around for a
XM4 is
while.
gonna save some careers, man. That's a
I
crazy gun.
well after all right after we talk about the challengers, we could talk about GAs a little
We can
bit. All
talk a little
right,
bit about GAs. That might
what
be a
is
whole
what's
podcast
your
itself.
yeah what's your take on Wester?
I mean, obviously, like they were bound to get knocked off at one point. They weren't gonna win every tournament. They probably knew that too. I mean, just the way they got knocked out and how early they got knocked out. Like it's not like they lost in the finals. It's not like they lost in like the losers bracket, a top 8. They went into some pretty big struggles in that one in their one match that they lost. But I mean, you should have seen them on Twitter. Like Paul X was saying that he didn't even go to sleep that night. He was just watching VODs. They all took it so personally, and they all took it so like hard on themselves that there's no way they don't bounce back and at least make like the finals or top 8 of the next cup. It's more of a fluke than anything, really. I still think that they're the best AM team by far.
Yeah, I agree. I think they'll get it together. They're all really good players, and I don't think they're ready, you know, to split up yet. I don't think that like one
Mm-mm.
tournament's gonna, you know, if they drop like the next two, or maybe they drop the next one, and another offer comes for Paul X, maybe we see a
Mm-hmm.
change, but I doubt we'll see
Yeah, no,
one
I mean, I
soon.
doubt we'll see like a change or anything like that, anything drastic. I don't. If anything's gonna come out of this, they might come out stronger, you know, which is scary for everybody else. But maybe, I mean, maybe this proved that you know you can't dominate online COD. There's gonna be tournaments. There's gonna be games where you can't win because things just don't go your way. And I mean, we saw Wester on the ropes a little bit in some of their other Challengers Cups, but they came back and won. They found a way to win. I mean, it's not gonna happen every time. I don't think anyone should be too nervous about Wester. I don't think anyone should be worried about the challenges scene. I think you got to be a little happy that another team won though. No matter how it is, like it just proves that it's more competitive than what people were saying. after Wester won their fourth cup.
Yeah,
Because
I
now
agree.
at this point, like teams have been playing together for a while. Teams have been playing with their teammates for a few
Yeah.
weeks now, or a few months even in some teams' standpoints. So I mean, we'll see what really goes on here. I feel like anything else you really want to talk about from the cup?
Um, I think the Wester is just a strange thing, but there was a funny team name I like, Team Degeneration. Like, I don't know if that's like
No, that
cool or
that sounds
not,
like a degeneration. Hmm. It's pretty
right? Like
it's
Degen,
pretty
like, but
cool.
I just thought that was a funny name. I just thought
Hmm.
that was hilarious.
Yeah, no, we can get into GAs though because that's a pretty hot topic. The GAs that have been going on all year have been making a lot of people really upset for some reason. I mean, some of
Yeah,
the GAs seem a little bit um more. I don't know, I don't really know what the right word for it is because some I actually agree with a lot of the GAs, but then there's just some that kind of take it a little bit too far. Like they're trying something out here,
yeah,
which is what people need to realize, that they're trying something here. It's not an actual like binding thing. They're just trying out different parts, different things in the game to try to make it something. But they complain a lot. Pros complain a lot. People complain a lot. Why do people
yeah.
complain so much about GAs, Alex? I know you got a lot of thoughts on this.
All right. So yeah, I'm gonna go on a little rant here, because I be playing a decent bit of console, when they talk about the GAs, sometimes it's like okay, like the smokes, we can all agree smokes are completely broken, and if you're in a GA smokes, you can't have snipers because that would just
Hmm.
be stupid, right? So that's one I agree with. The AK's good, but like, come on, man, like. They're crying about a gun. First it was lasers, then it was AKs, and yeah, they're testing things out, but now that we're so close to like the first week
Yep.
of the league matches, it's like actually getting like set in stone. Like the GAs they're playing with is like what they're
Hmm.
going to be playing with. You know what I'm saying? So as of recent, they have GA'd frags and stuns, and so I don't know what the problem with stuns is. They're using flashes instead of stuns now. I have no
Yeah.
idea what their
It
gripe is with that. I don't
seems like
really
they're
get
just
it.
trying out something new, and if the preset classes are
Yeah,
actually going to be a thing, then they want to keep the specific nades to like something set in stone. Like they want like only simtexes
yeah.
and stuns or something like that. Like they might be trying to just
Yeah.
narrow it down.
Well, and so that's another thing is I feel like also like as a fan, we want to emulate how they're playing. We have no league play for us to
Hmm.
be able to do that. The CMG rule set and the UMG and the MLG, like, all those, they don't have like the GAs in the, you can still use an AK, you could run whatever, like
You can put
it's
task
it's the
force
Wild
on
West
still.
out there,
They're still
right?
running
So
task force in
yeah,
those
the
GBs.
lack of transparency between the players and like the league and all of us like as fans in the community. I think they need to like they talked about it like
Hmm.
twice, right? Clay talked about it and then Tony Flame talked about it, and we haven't really heard much from them to us like since. But I think it would give us a lot more clarity on the situation if they could just explain themselves,
Hmm.
and because I don't think they're just testing things anymore. Like I think going into the first week of matches, like this is what we're going to see is just and maybe there's a possibility, dude. They were talking about the XM4 yesterday on Twitter. They're talking about
Maybe that
GAing
gun's
that map,
crazy.
and they haven't talked about doing anything to the 74U. The 74U is the best
Hmm.
gun in the game
Yeah.
by far. You may not agree. You may think it's XM4, but I
No.
personally still
The
think it's
74U still
74U.
is probably the
I
best gun
played.
in the game.
Listen, I played
Hmm.
BO4 the other day, right? And I was using a SOG, and I tried to shoot someone at a distance that I would kill someone with the AK. I
Yep.
couldn't even hit a shot. And when it did, it was like the smallest hit, right? The AK-74U is literally an AR. It is
The
ridiculous.
74U, yeah, they took Task Force off of it too, which is it's funny because now you think about how they were playing with Task Force before. At least for a certain period of time, they had Task Force on the 74U too.
And effective damage
It's
range barrels. It was effective damage
Yeah,
range
no,
and
it's
damage
crazy.
barrels. Like,
That gun is ridiculous, but the XM4 kind of almost balances things out a little bit because now you got people, you got multiple things to look out for. You got the Krig in the back. Now you have the XM4s playing some medium range, and you also have to worry about the subs that's short, medium, and long range. So I mean, we could be seeing a three sub meta this year. Things could turn that way, that we see a three sub meta with a Krig and then one Krig and then three 74Us. That's possible. I mean, we never really know what's going to happen with patches.
yeah,
As
I think Yeah, I think this year, I think it really depends on the
Mm-hmm.
map because on Checkmate, like teams will start pulling out three ARs because that map's super long. So I think it completely depends on the map, but I think it's more about like what guns will they be
Mm-hmm.
using, because they pull out XM4s in certain situations and Krigs in others, but people still say that XM4 is best. So who
Yeah,
knows?
I think we're gonna find a lot of weird we're gonna find a lot of weird things with GAs throughout the whole year. I hope they come up with some kind of rule set, at least for the first stage and the first home all the home series and then the first main major. I keep forgetting about how they're calling everything so many different things. You got these home series, but they're
Yeah,
just league matches. Like there's gonna be a lot of confused people on YouTube in the YouTube chat come next Thursday.
facts,
I
facts.
don't know. I mean, I have you seen another topic we can get on real quick? Have you seen some of the new clothing the team's been putting out? I saw the Rocker and LAG put out their clothes.
Yeah, so you know what? And I'm gonna go check the COD League tour right now because London
Hmm.
revealed theirs today. So the London one looked a lot like the LAG one, which is
Yeah.
like a logo on
Hmm.
like the middle of the upper chest, and then there's like
Yeah.
the stripe. There's like a stripe of like whatever their design is under it, but the rocker had a different one. So I thought the rockers looked pretty cool so far. Oh, they just announced Florida's
No.
14 minutes
Yeah,
ago.
they're all like I don't know. They're all so expensive that merch. Like I'm like
Oh,
yeah.
Florida's
Like
is
I
so
can't.
cool.
It looks super cool. I can't.
It's got
They
Zaxby's
got a
on it.
Zaxby sponsor. I might have to
Yeah,
get
this
that.
I don't think the other ones
I
had
might have to get
sponsors
that if they
on
have the
them.
Zaxby sponsor. I don't get to eat Zaxby's very often. I know you do, right? You got that down in
Yeah,
Tennessee. I don't.
Zaxby's is good. I like that.
Up
Yeah.
here in Chicago, I settle for Canes,
Damn.
which might be better.
Yeah, the yeah, the rocker merch looks cool, but I think so far Florida has the best jersey.
I gotta look at all this later. But we can get into our next topic, which this is gonna be really fun. We're gonna do a live tier list right here with all of the 2021 CDL teams. So just gotta hit this real quick. Like I feel like this tier list could be interesting because I think it's a much better way to rank teams, especially at this point in the season,
Yeah.
compared to
Then instead of doing like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
hmm
6, 7, 8,
yeah.
and it's like if there's teams you don't know where they'd be. But what I like to do on the tier list is also like teams on the left are like
hmm
the best in that tier. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
That's kind of how I look
Alex,
at
you see
things.
this? We're all good. All right,
Yeah.
perfect. So we're gonna
Yep.
start. Let's start from the S tier and work our way down. So I'm gonna say that we should only put two teams in the S tier. Just as like a rule of thumb, a rule of
Hmm.
principle. We should only put two teams in S tier. Because if you put too many, then you kind of lose the
Well,
meaning of S tier.
yeah. I mean, when I was thinking about it earlier, I only had two in my S tier, and I think you know who both
Hmm.
those teams
I mean,
are.
I'm gonna put these up here real quick. I'm gonna take a guess. Is that correct? Empire in S tier.
Yes, that is
All right,
absolutely
and
correct.
then Optic
I
Chicago in S
think,
tier.
yeah, from what we've seen from those two teams, it does not look like another team is like on their level. I think that, and this may be a hot take, but I personally think that the Optic team that they have right now is probably the best team they've
Mm.
ever had. Yeah, there was a lot of tournaments back in the day, so that team may have more championships, but I think that this Optic team we have right here I think they're gonna be
Mm-hmm.
winning this year, and I think it's gonna be interesting because at the tournaments now, at the majors, we'll actually have all the teams there, so it's not like Optic could win and people could say, oh, well,
Mm-hmm.
like Empire's not there. Empire's going to be there.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be there. Florida, Thieves, FaZe, it doesn't matter. They're all there. And I think Optic is just going to be able to beat all of them. But I also think Empire is really good and capable of the same thing. And I think they do have the best player in the game or the
Mm-hmm.
second best
No,
player, you know?
I think this makes sense because Empire obviously they're the champs from last year. They're undeniable. They're gonna be in the top three of champs this year no matter what. This is a team that I don't see. I think they have they have the highest floor in the CDO. Like I don't think they drop below the top three teams at all this year. There's no chance. I mean, Optic could have some internal
No.
problems, but I doubt it. They're really good, but Optic might just be a little bit more finicky than Dallas to me. But I think both of these teams are the clear cut one and two, one A, one
Yeah.
B. I say
Yeah. Well, and you say like maybe they will have
maybe. I
internal
don't
problems. Like
probably
I think
not.
for both of these teams, you see what they're doing on social media. You see Krim riding around a
No,
go
yeah, the
kart at the
vibes are too
Empire
good.
facility. You see all the Optic content. I think that for both of these teams,
Hmm.
all these guys really like playing with each other,
Yeah.
and I think that that's what will help them be consistent because they'll know how to deal with problems if they come
Hmm.
to them. You know what I'm saying? Like if there comes to a point where it's like, hey, like what is going on? I think that all those guys will be able to
Hmm.
figure it out if they face struggles, even if they do. But it's funny because Optic at the beginning of the game, people weren't ranking them higher than like Florida or FaZe, and then Dashy and Formal moved to Texas, and it's
Hmm.
just a whole new game for them. Formal hasn't looked this good since like the
Right.
Jetpack days,
No, I
straight
mean
up.
the only yeah.
And Dashy is just playing like
Hmm.
BO4 Dashy again. Like
The
it's
only
just
reason I
crazy.
said that there might be internal problems is that that is the only if I'm trying to like throw darts at Optic and maybe find like one problem, maybe if they lose maybe if they lose like a tournament or something, maybe they lose the finals and the vibes get a little shaky. Who knows? That's the only thing that could really hold this team back from anything, but I doubt it. This is my 1A and 1B.
Yeah.
They're too solid. But what this means is that we're kind of disrespecting a team that made the champs finals last year because we're putting them a tier below. I'm gonna say that FaZe is the A tier team. That's the first team that comes to my head when I think the
Yeah. I
because
agree
I mean
with that
going into the
100%.
year I actually probably would have said like Empire is number 1, FaZe is number 2, and then Optic Chicago is number
Yeah.
3. That's what I would have said going into the year. But after I've watched scrims, after I've watched some of their kickoff games, after I've just like kind of assessed both teams and how the meta plays, I really think that FaZe is just a hair down. I don't know exactly what it is. Yeah, so FaZe like they could be in that S tier, but just because I only want to keep like 2 teams in that S tier, FaZe is gonna have to drop down to A. And so I think this brings up our next team that we can pull in. This is my thought. I would say
Yeah, I
Florida A
agree.
tier.
I
What
mean,
do you think
they
about that?
they beat
Right there with
FaZe,
FaZe.
but I mean, it was close. It was really close, and I think
Hmm.
FaZe kind of played
Yeah,
bad.
and
I
they were
think
playing on a
they'll
weird host
definitely
too.
after that they'll improve. I think they're going to be really good at their home series. Them versus Optic is going to be a really good match.
Yeah.
But I think Florida, you know, I think Neptune's been playing well. Awakening's gonna fry. Skies is gonna fry. Slack is gonna do his thing. Shout out Jerry. Shout out one of the goats. Put some respect on his name. Put some
I love
respect on
Slack.
Slack's name.
Uh,
Average,
I'm
highest
big on
average
Florida
placing
this year.
outside of the Optic Dynasty. Boom.
And another thing about Florida, they're gonna be looking nice this year with those new
Yeah,
jerseys.
I
They might have the
yeah they
style
do
points
they
for them.
do
Well,
have.
we have to see
Hey,
everybody
they
else's,
got the
but
Zaxby's jerseys. That's crazy.
that's style. All right, so I let's see what we can do here. I don't think there's another team that's worthy of being on this A tier right now, as it
No,
stands.
I agree.
All right, then that means we can start with the B tier, and I want to start with the LA Thieves. Probably go on my B tier.
Exactly.
Probably the
Let's
first
think
time on my
you.
B tier. People had a lot of expectations for this team. They a lot of people were trying to even some people have even trying to push them into the top 3. I saw on like Reddit and stuff like that. I don't agree with that quite yet. I want to see a few tournaments from them. I mean, I'm not putting too much weight into that Optic 3-0 because it's just the kickoff classic. It was just a preseason match. I can't put too much weight into that. But there are valid concerns about LA this year. There are valid concerns about how well they're going to play and if they can be elite, if they can be in that top 3, if they can be in that top 2, can they reach it? I'm not quite convinced. Personally, I'm just not convinced that they can really reach that top 2, top 3, place top 3 at champs. I don't think they can do that. I don't know. I'm iffy on them, but what are your thoughts?
You know, I think that right now they don't look good, but 100 Thieves just announced their content plan for the next year, and they're bringing back O to 100. And Enable's going to have his own series with the team and about the CDL. So I think that for the story, for the content, they're going to improve as the year goes on. And I think that they're
Mm-hmm.
probably going to be one of the best teams at the end of the game. Like once they really figure out what they need to do,
Yeah.
maybe they make a change with
Coach
like,
Cap will figure something out,
think
maybe.
Temp or TJ maybe if they just don't
Yeah.
keep
Well,
playing good,
it,
like maybe something
mm-hmm.
happens with them. Maybe they pick up like John or someone, who
Yeah.
knows. But I think Slasher and Kenny are definitely they're gonna strive this year. I think that with using ARs. Like, how could they not? I think the ARs are pretty good, but from what we saw in the kickoff match, they didn't look good. Kenny looked pretty good in the S&D. Slasher, he
Yeah.
was getting unlucky with the trophy, but
How good can
I
Temp
think
be?
they'll definitely figure it
How
out.
good can Temp be?
Temp,
Isn't that
I think
important?
Temp can be really
Because
good. Yo,
if
people sleep
right,
on
but if you
Temp.
look at it,
People
what
sleep
this
on Temp.
team
I
did
think no.
was replace Dashy with Temp, right? That's like one of the main
Yeah, Dashy wasn't
cores of
that
what
good last
happened.
year, though.
Like,
Dashy wasn't that good
yeah,
last
it
year,
was a
though.
weird year last year, but I mean, we'll see how good will
And they
Temp
didn't
be?
like
Like
playing together.
that's where it comes down to is how
I
good will
think
Temp
okay.
be? Is he can he be
See, I
can he
disagree.
be a force?
I think it's TJ. I think it comes down to
Mm-hmm.
TJ. I think that's what hurt Optic a lot in BO4, and I think that's what hurt. TJ. They kept him all of last year because I think he wanted to play with Slasher and Kenny. He's won with Slasher in World War II before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think they wanted him, but there was a lot of times where he just played really bad. And same in BO4. Like, he had events where he was really good. Also had times where he just wasn't doing much for the
Mm-hmm. And
squad.
with this, yeah,
So I think it really depends
with
on
this
him.
year, it's going to be weird because you're essentially playing like 4 or 5 matches a month before you like. That's kind of how it works out, right? With the home series and these league like these regular league matches, and you can't. It's going to change things because when it's a tournament, one team can get really hot and just have a good weekend and just build off of each result just super quickly. But when you have a match and then you have to wait a few days to play your next match, it's a lot different, I think, and I think it might change the way that some teams perform over the course of the season. But now I feel like now this is probably the point where we're gonna start getting into some disagreements because these are the top five. I think these are the five clear top teams right now, on paper,
Yeah.
off of their performances and scrims, and these are the top five teams. So the first team I would add to B tier would be the Minnesota Rocker. How do you feel about that?
I agree with that
I mean, yeah,
one.
we'll probably agree on
I think
this one.
outside of those top
Yeah,
five, Rocker just looks better
mhm,
than the other teams. They look really good at S&D and control.
hmm
You know.
Rocker, like their S&D and control looked amazing. Their hard point looked pretty rough, but that was just one event. So I want to watch more. I want to.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I can catch them on a scrim sometime this week, sometime soon. I want to see how they play in some hard points because those hard points were bad. Like against Toronto, like they were really good on everything but those hard points. So I mean, it all comes down to how they play that hard point because I do think they're going to be a good S&D team. I mean, on paper, they have some of the best S&D players in the entire league. Their control looked great at the Kickoff Classic. That was just one map, though. We can't take too much away from that. But I mean, if they figure it out on respawn and they start winning respawns against good teams, we could see them jump. We could see them jump LA. We could see them jump into the Florida phase tier. I could see that. Um, let's add
Yeah.
another team to the B tier. I think there is another team that kind of deserves to be here. I think that's the Toronto Ultra. Would you count putting them in the B tier, or do you think they should be pushed down?
You know what? I would not put them in the B
Mm-hmm.
tier. I would probably put them. You know, I definitely am not putting them in the B tier. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, would there be?
I got another team in the
Let me
B
hear it. Let
tier.
me hear it.
LAG.
LAG.
I'm going all in on the Gorillas, man.
Hmm.
Papathy is here. They got Silly, the Zebra himself. Assault was playing in the hill. I think it's a
You know?
different year for this team. Vivid's gonna
Yeah.
be good. Apathy. I think that this team has a lot of potential,
Hmm. I
man.
I think you can probably. I don't know. It's hard for me because when you look at this, it's SAB, and all of that seems fine. But I feel like once you put a team in C tier, you're essentially kind of writing them off, right? And it's hard for me to write off. It's hard for me to write off any of these teams. You know what though?
Yeah.
I kind of like that. I kind of like Vivid. I like Apathy, Assault, Silly. Like it's a pretty solid squad. You got champions on that team. You got champions
The
on that team.
4v4 boots,
Four v
reigning
four
champs.
boots,
3 of the 4v4
reigning
boots, reigning
champs. You got
champs.
Ricky calling shots. Hmm. I don't know. Yeah. You know what? I'll join Team LAG. I'll put them in B tier. And I don't think anyone else probably shouldn't put anyone else in B tier if you're still super
No.
against putting the Ultra in there. But
Yeah.
let's look at the C tier. I'm gonna put the Paris Legion in the C tier. How do you feel about that?
I
Not only
agree
that,
with that. I think
I'm
that's
putting
the right
them
move.
I'll put them as a first team in C2. We can say that like this is kind of
Yeah, I think they're
hmm
I do think they're better than Ultra, New York, London, and Seattle at the moment.
like Paris like it comes down to how great of a player Aqua can be in terms of his main AR role
Yeah.
because it that's where a lot of teams separate themselves sometimes is that main AR. Like if you have a if you have a team with you have a team with Octane on the main AR, like you don't have to worry about that at all. You don't have to the subs start to like dictate how good that team's going to be. But when you have good sub players, like and you have good veterans like Classic, you you need players who can fill in their roles really well. And I think Aqua can do that, and I think Fire can do it too. I think Fire is going to surprise a lot of people. We're about to get into our award predictions. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people had Fire as a Rookie of the Year. He'd definitely be a Rookie of the Year candidate. He'd be a breakout player as well. And then it's a solid squad. I mean, people thought Paris was gonna put together like a horrible roster, but I don't even think they did. And even when they announced the roster, I didn't think it was bad either. A lot of people were dumping on them like,
Yeah.
oh, who are these people? How are they playing together? There's no way they can play together. Like this is such a random team. Yeah, like of course it's a random team, just because you never thought about putting all these guys together before, but. I think they could really mesh together. If they mesh well, they could break into a top 16.
Yeah, see, so that's how I felt. I saw this roster and I'm like, it's really interesting that this is the roster they got. There was rumors of like Goonjar being on it, but then I'm pretty sure Classic got on it.
Hmm.
I was like, I think this roster could actually be pretty good. I was confused about who was going to do what role, but Aqua showed that he could be a true, main AR. So I think that for that team, that's very important. I think like Classic, Nicky D, he had a good
Hmm.
kickoff weekend. He played good in the S&Ds. I think Scraps was good. Fire was beaming with the
Hmm.
XM4. He was flexing. He's doing both. So I think that this team is actually really well built, and I think it's not guys that have egos. It's guys that like worked hard to get into the league to get these
Hmm.
spots. And I think that their matches aren't going to be blowouts. I think they're going to be close, but I think that they're going to win a few matches that we don't expect them
Mm.
to.
So the next team that I'm thinking about putting in C tier is I want to put Toronto in now. I want to get them off the
Yeah, I
bottom
agree.
because Toronto could surprise a lot of people this year. Kleenex, he looks
Yeah,
nice. Bance, they kept Bance over Classic, which is a lot of people have opinions.
but he was going
Hmm.
crazy in
He
the
was going
respawns
off.
in their match.
Bance was playing. He was playing his heart out. He really was. Like this is like the true this is kind of like the true European roster in the league. Obviously, you have London too, but
Yeah,
like this team was very European last year as well. Like I mean, look at Cammy,
yeah.
Kleenex, Bance,
Kleenex, it's like
and you got
Swedish or
Marky D.
something.
Kleenex is Danish, but
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
Danish.
they're all up there. But Methods is gonna be their catalyst this year. Methods, if he starts playing well and he starts rivaling those other main ARs, we could see Toronto making some more noise. They had they had that weird match against the Rocker where obviously they looked amazing in hardpoint where they got steamrolled down the control. I don't really know if that was like Minnesota just playing a very amazing control or if that was Toronto like not necessarily knowing how to play it. But it's hard to count out Toronto. It's hard to count them out. Like it's hard to count out any of these teams. That's why I feel bad about the teams that we're gonna put into D tier because they could easily be in C tier. Like C and D tier, it's pretty much interchangeable. That's where those
Yeah,
like bottom five, bottom six teams. That's where like the bloodbath starts, and you could rank any team from 12 to 7 in any of those numbers, and I don't think anyone could get that upset with you.
yeah. So I think with Ultra, it's just like what separates them from the teams below is that honestly, all the players look pretty good in
Hmm.
their match. The Seattle LAG one went to the map five, but like none of the players really stood out during the whole match. But like Vance was playing pretty consistently. Methods and
Hmm.
Cammy were just doing their thing, and Kleenex is like he's a nasty sub player, man. He was really good last year. Like when they picked him up, I was
Hmm.
like, who the hell is this Kleenex guy? I mean, I was like, that's a really cool name to be honest. But like, dude, he was frying last year, and like I think he'll definitely bring that energy this year, and I think that that's what makes them better
All
than a
right,
few of those teams.
let's put New York in the C tier with these other teams. What do you think about that? I know everyone's low on New York right now, but I don't want to put them all the way in the basement. I can't count Clay out. You think I can't count Clay out?
Yeah, so that's the thing is like they look like the worst team in the game besides London to me, but I do think that like when it comes to matches, like that is a team that just like would
Hmm.
pull off a
Yeah, I
random
mean
win. You know what
Hydra, if
I'm
he joins
saying?
the team, I think he's gonna actually he's gonna plug in and play really well. So I
Oh yeah,
I can't put New York in D tier yet. I have to leave him in C tier. I respect him too much. I respect Clay too much. I respect Mac too much. I think I think they could play better than people think. I mean, you can't put too much into scrims.
Yeah.
You can't put too much into the kickoff classic. I think when it comes to it, New York is gonna. They're not gonna be the basement. They're not gonna be. They're not gonna be a pushover. That's the thing is like there's no pushover team this year. You can't come into a match against any of these teams and like underestimate them because you will. You might end up losing. I think any of these teams can really beat each other on a given day, minus maybe Empire and Chicago. I don't see Empire and Chicago losing any matches to these bottom like three or four these bottom three teams like Surge, London, New York. I don't Toronto. I don't think either Empire or Chicago lose a match to any of them all year. How do you feel about that? Anything
You
can
know,
happen, but
uh, yeah, anything can happen, and I'm a firm believer in that. I'm always welcome to surprises. If a team wants to pull out a random win, I'm always for that. I think I just don't think Clay will spend the whole
mm,
season at the bottom. I think he'll figure the game out, figure his team out, figure out what they need to do to get better. It's still so early, and Diamond kind of looked good in their show match. Mac and Asim, it was kind of like,
mm,
what are they doing? But
yeah.
they could figure it out. Maybe Hydra comes, gives them a
I'm
boost. I think maybe they pull up Saints. Maybe they get John. Maybe they replace Mac and Asim with John and
is
Saints.
John
Who
like
knows?
is he CD already? Because he's missed a lot of months, and I saw him
Hey,
frying an H
he
the other
may
night.
not be
I saw him
CD
frying an H
already.
the other night. He might be there.
Hey,
Hopefully,
I,
I'm
I
hoping
would
he's CD already at
yo
one point. That'd be amazing.
his chat was going crazy, bro. All right, so he was getting hella viewers, right? People were hosting him and whatnot. Like his shit was going crazy. And then Kip, our friend Kippa, he gifted me and Elijah, our other friend, he gifted us subs, and I was like, I gotta give back to the community. So I gifted a sub, gifted. We started a hype train. Everybody was getting lit. Like he just
I
went
love
live.
that.
John is live, playing scrims. Come through,
Hmm.
donate.
So now we're looking at Surge in London. They're the only two teams we don't have on this tier list yet. Do we put them both in D? Does one of these teams belong lower? One of these teams belong higher? How do you feel?
I say Surgeon D higher than London. I just think London, I'm pretty sure they're gonna
Right.
like make roster
Hmm.
changes
I
or
wish I
whatever,
could put
so
all these teams just like this, and then I don't have to choose the teams that have to go down. But I'm gonna put them in the basement. I'm gonna put Surge and London down here in D tier until they start winning. I mean, we might do this again maybe mid season. It could be fun. It could be fun to do this again mid season and see how wrong we were or how right we were about any of these teams.
yeah.
But I think this is fair. I think London right now is probably the 12th team because we don't really know what they're doing. Like, is Zero gonna be here? Is Zero gonna play here? Like, because if Zero's playing from the UK, they're definitely gonna be in D tier for me because he's gonna be playing on like a completely unfair host. They're both of these teams like can be better than what we're putting them as. So I don't want to make this seem like we're shitting on Seattle and London because I think there's something about both of these teams that you don't want to count them out because of the players on the team who have had success all over the league before. So it's hard. Like I really hate having to do this, but I think this is fair. I think this is a pretty fair tier chart too.
Yeah. I think Surge, they have players that could play good, but we'll just have to see at
Mm-hmm.
this point.
Yeah, Gunless. I mean, Gunless was having some moments. Octane was looking pretty nice. Looney and Pristini were both having some moments as well. So, yeah, you can't count this team out. You can't count any like. How do you count out a
Yeah.
team with Octane and like Gunless, Pristini, Looney? Like those are solid players. Those are amazing. Those are amazing players. And let's
Yeah.
like I got the schedule pulled up here. Some matches to look out for on that opening Thursday. It's not going to be too kind for Seattle. They have to play Dallas in their opening match. But Sunday, the 14th, on that opening weekend, um, London will play Seattle. So is that the basement bar? Is that the basement brawl? Is that what that is?
I guess it is. I
I
guess it
guess it
is.
has
We'll
to
have
be
to
right.
see. Whoever wins will be higher on the tier
Mhm.
list.
And then we have a few other opening weekend matches: L.A. Thieves versus Minnesota. That's another
Let's
matchup
go.
of two teams in our tiers. And then we have let's see. I don't know if there's anything else like that with matches. LAG is gonna rematch Paris, so maybe Paris takes their spot on the B tier. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see who looks more impressive. But we can get into another topic here. As you can see, our final tier list. I'll make it real big up on the screen for everybody to be able to see. We got Empire in the S tier, Optic Chicago in the S tier with them, Atlanta FaZe A, Florida Mutineers A, got the LA Thieves in B tier, got the Rocker B tier, LAG, that's our surprise pick. That's our wild card in the B tier. Then we go with Paris, Ultra, Subliners, and then in the basement, Seattle and London. So we can get into our next topic, which is kind of like another awards prediction thing. It is the awards of the CDL, like a few of the top CDL awards, like MVP, Rookie, Respawn Player, S&D Player. But we also have, we're going to talk about our Coach of the Year candidates, and then we have our own two fun ones, the OBJ Mastermind Award and the Statue AR Award. These are two awards I'm super excited for. But we'll start from the top. We'll start with our MVPs. I'd say we just start with the MVPs. Let the people know who we think is going to be the MVP. I got Illy. Because last year it was Shotzzy. So if Shotzzy plays really well again and Illy plays really well, I think they're going to kind of give the nod to Illy because I think he's going to be going off, right? Like Illy's that guy who also is going to make a bunch of clutch plays too. We saw it on a Control. We saw it on an S&D. I think he's going to have some of the best S&D plays of the year, some of the best Control plays of the year. Illy just seems to be making all the right plays when he needs to. That's a trait that a lot of younger players don't really have. They don't really have that full all-around clutch game. But Illy has that, and he looks scary he looks scarier every time he plays. That's my MVP.
I gotta respect it. I always say Illy for MVP. He's the Pope, the GOAT. Illy, representation for the Indian community. Shout out to him. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna have to go with King Scump, man. I'm going with the oldest MVP ever. I think Scump plays this game all the time. He plays the Omu matches. He plays the 2v2s, the Road to 100 with Envoy. He's got the passion. He's nasty. He's frying out here. I think that they're going to succeed a lot this year. I think that Scump might just get an MVP. People want to say, oh, he's washed. He's not as good as he was. But I think he's here to say, bow down to me. Huh. Who's the best in the game?
I can see that. Hey, why not? Why not have him be up at that spot? Scump, he seems like, I don't know. He's kind of like LeBron at this point. Where he might have some games people could accuse him of coasting through some more unimportant matches, showing up when it really matters. I don't think we get that Scump this year. I think we get the Scump who's frying out every match he plays, every time. So this opening weekend, he's gonna come out against Paris on that Friday. I think he's gonna go off. I think he's gonna do whatever he pleases, and then he's gonna play against Atlanta FaZe on that Sunday, which is gonna be the best game of the weekend. He might just blow everybody away. Might just blow everybody out of the water. Because him and Envoy are going to be kind of doing similar roles this year. I think both of them kind of just interchange and do whatever they need to do. If one's pushing out, the other one's going to stay back in the hill. The other one can push out and slay, though, and the other one can stay back in the hill. They can both play around each other on S&D. That duo is one to look out for. I know you can't really call them a duo when you got Scump and Formal sitting on the same team, but they're the two SMGs who are going to have to get stuff done, and I think either of them could be solid MVP candidates. So I think that's a good pick. I like the Scump MVP narrative. I'm a fan of that.
All right. And by the way, I have to go in 10 minutes, so can we just
let's go for the speed run. So my Coach of the Year is going to be Cinder. I think he's going to show up. I think he's going to impress a lot of people. You know why? Because Optic is the best hardpoint team by far, and that's going to make people understand that it's not just because of their killing and slaying power, their rotations as well, which are going to be masterminded by the man himself.
My Coach of the Year, I'm going to go with the curveball. I'm going to go Brian Saint, all right? Minnesota Rocker coach. I think he's going to get the boys in line, get accuracy going, get attached, get Priest and Major Maniac in line. And he be tweeting on the TL, he'd be talking about, he kind of is tweeting it's 2014 still, talking subtweeting girls or something. I don't know. Yeah, he's an entertaining guy. He's decent in Coach 8's. Joey Nubsy's still the Coach 8's GOAT, but I think Brian Saint
my wild card Dylan Theory. All right, let's get into the Rookie of the Year. I'm gonna go with Neptune. He looks cracked. He looks like he's not even a rookie. He's one of those rookies who looks he's playing like he's not even a rookie. And not only is he like a rookie in the CDL, he's like a rookie. He's like a COD rookie. You know, he was doing other shit, and he's still this good. He's still this good. I think he's gonna be surprising a lot of people. Florida as they make their way up, he's gonna be one of their main best players.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Fire 40. You know, just rebranded to Fire, but I still think Fire 40
Hmm.
sounds really cool. So, you know, I think that he's gonna be one of the better flexes. I think he's gonna be a big reason why Paris will see success because I do think they will. And you know, he wasn't really like, you know, Aqua in those respawns
Hmm.
was going nuts. Classic in the S&Ds was going nuts, but Fire just kind of stayed like consistent throughout all the maps and just did what needed
That's
to
what
be
I like to
done.
see out of a rookie. I think Neptune's gonna make a little bit more flashy plays and maybe have some better stats, and that's why it'll run to him in the end. But that's a great transition into a breakout player of the year because my breakout player I think is gonna be Fire. I know it's weird to say Neptune's my rookie of the year while saying that Fire is my breakout, but I kind of think that's I think it's fair. I think it's fair because I think Fire is going to surprise people on a different kind of level than what Neptune is. Neptune's going to be solid enough, and like everyone seems pretty like hyped around him, and a lot of people are just saying he's going to be the rookie of the year. So I think when Fire shows up and plays really well, he's going to nab that breakout player of the year award.
Yeah, for me, I'm gonna go Papathy. I'm seeing he's breaking out this year. Why not? Right? He's been
Mm-hmm.
kind of quiet for the past few years. Why not break out this year? Be a big Slayer
Bounce
for your
back,
team.
yeah.
Win
Turn
maybe a
back the
major.
clock.
Maybe make it to some finals or
I'm a
something.
fan of
Yeah,
that.
I think you know what, I'm going.
If
Old guys are
if that
better this
worked,
year. You know,
yeah.
the older
If
you are,
that's
the better.
valid, like if that works for like breakout player of the year, like someone who's kind of like already been amazing in the past and like kind of resurges to that level, I think Apathy is one to look out for. But we'll talk about respawn player, your respawn player of the year. I'm gonna go with Dashy because I think he's just gonna be frying in every game mode, and I think he's going to be showing up with some huge control games, some huge hardpoint games. There's a lot of kills to go around. There's not enough kills to go around for like everybody on that roster. But why not Dashy?
Yeah. Dashy, you know, he fries. He had the 1.36. He had like the highest
Mm-hmm.
KD of the kickoff
Yeah.
weekend, right? You know what? No, I'm going with
Mm.
Shotzi though. Shotzi, you know, in the respawns, he was going crazy. You know, getting in the hill, slaying around it, just pushing into their base, like annoying others. Like he was just doing literally
Mm-hmm.
everything, and he like was just spinning and like backwards. I didn't even know what he was doing,
No,
man.
I'm a fan of that. Is that also your respawn player?
Yeah, Shotzi's my
Yep, I
respawn.
feel that. I got Shotzi for another thing that we'll get down to on the line. But what my S&D player of the year? This might be a little surprising. I'm gonna go with Vivid. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. He had some pretty good stats last year on S&D as well in his limited time playing. But I think that LAG is going to be a very solid search and destroy team with Apathy and Salt, Silly, Vivid. I think Vivid's going to be the star of that. I think we're going to see a bunch of rounds from Vivid where he just gets 2 or 3 kills, gets some clutches. I think he's going to be he's my S&D player of the year.
See, for me, I'm gonna go with Envoy. You know, he's the S&D clutch player of the year last year. You know, he was big in S&D, always carrying the team. But him and Scump, granted the 2v2s, you know, they know how to win these. He's been playing 2v2s and wagers for years. He used
Hmm.
the keyboard and do the players. I think that he's just so ready for those moments and for those big games.
Mm-hmm. So now we're gonna get into our fun awards, our specific main stage cast awards. The OBJ Mastermind of the Year. My OBJ Mastermind of the Year is Shotzi. You know why? He carries the bomb when he needs to. He plants that whenever he feels like it. He gets in the hill if he needs to. He'll be running those control points. Look at Shotzi. Like he'll go off and he'll have a high KD while soaking up hill time, which is I love that. As someone who loves to play in the hill, I love seeing stuff like that. Win one for the OBJ Mastermind. Shotzi, this is all you.
Hey, you know, I'm gonna go the Seattle Surge route. I'm gonna go
Hmm.
Looney. You know, been in the league for a long time. One of the OGs now. You know, he's gonna be carrying that bomb. Everyone else on his team's kind of a slayer. You know, if they want to be good, Pristini's got to be a
Hmm.
slayer. Someone's got to get in the hill, and I think that's gonna be Looney. You know, control like hard point. It doesn't matter. He's gonna be there because he has to be. He's gonna step up big
That's
for
what
his team.
I'm Team Looney this year. I know we put him in the basement. I'm sorry, Looney, but if they bounce back, I'm gonna eat my words and I'm gonna be happy about it. I love Looney. So let's go into our other award. the statue AR of the year. I mean, this isn't saying that these people only turrets, they're only statues. It's not true. This is more of a who's that best AR? Who's holding everything down? I think one of the best ARs this year, who people already know can be a really good AR. He's just gonna take it to the next level, and he's gonna have to force the other top ARs to be even better. It's Skies. It's Caesar. He can do so many things with his AR. Like he can be in so many different places. He plays so many different lanes. He plays it all so well. I think he's gonna win a. I think he's gonna be a big reason why Florida's a little slept on. Uh, watch guys. Watch what he does. He's one of the best ARs in the league. I think he could rise to the top of the AR list.
See, I'm gonna go with the best AR in the league right now, and that's Crim6. Crim6 is frying. He's the best IGL. He just knows exactly what to do. I just don't think there's anyone that can beat him right now. Clayster and Diamondcon weren't really giving him any trouble. He was frying subs with the Craig up close. I just don't
Hmm.
think he can be beat.
That's fair. I mean, it's hard for me to bet against Crim. I'm trying to think a little bit outside of the box here. But hey, let's say Crim goes up against Florida and Sky starts wrecking him a little bit. Crim's gonna have to step into that extra gear. He's gonna have to step into what makes him one of the greatest players of all time. What makes him the GOAT. He might show that this year, and I know you're really high on him, and I am too. If I was making a main AR list, I'd probably put Crim at number one right now. I just think that Skies can contest for that spot this year, and he's gonna shock a lot of people. So yeah, that's all of our awards. Alex, you got any closing thoughts before we get into another kind of off week?
It's gonna be a slow week. They're adding the new zombies map. Go play some
Yeah,
zombies, I guess.
I'm gonna come up with a hot take. You're gonna be able to play a match of league play before the first home series begins. That's my take. I'm an
I
optimist.
I think so too. I think they'll use it to promote the
I think
matches.
that's what's gonna happen. So just hang in there. Just hang in there. Go. We're gonna have league play soon, and it's gonna be a shit ton of fun. So thank you everybody for paying attention this week. We'll be back next week with episode 5. We're gonna get into some predictions for the entire season there. Preview the first home series weekend. Thank you.